Henry and Lucietta. What's the tea, sis? I'm back. What is up, you guys? It's Chase, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, welcome. Let's introduce ourselves. I'll start. My name is Chase, and I'm a hot mess, and I also just missed a week after saying how consistent I've been in 3 weeks, and then I missed a week, but we'll talk about that. Anyway, I'm a hot mess. I'm the hottest of messes. I play with my hair too much. I need a haircut. So, if you like hot messes, if you're intrigued, if you are a hot mess, then subscribe. Hit that red button. It's free. It's free to join the Hot Mess Express. This train goes full steam ahead, and what? It doesn't stop. No, it doesn't, okay? Period. I want to, real quick, run something by you guys, because I've had this idea, and I just wanted to see what you guys thought of it. So, Spooky Saturdays. That's the series. That's what we do every Saturday. Upload Spooky Saturday. But I thought it'd be interesting if in this series I don't know, I did different cities. So like right now, if you notice, I've done a lot of haunted places in Mansfield or around Mansfield and like that area, Richland County. I have like 4 more places I want to do after this video. And I thought it'd be cool if after that I moved to a different city and I talked about a different haunted place and the different city and kind of make it like a season, if you will. So this is like season 1, and then season 2 would be a different city and all the haunted places in that city. I don't know. I thought it'd be interesting. If that sounds interesting to you, then leave a comment down below. Let me know if that's something that you think sounds cool. And if not, well, then don't let me know. Thank you. So, last week, I didn't upload. I talked about in my video prior how good I've been and how consistent I've been. It's the longest time, and I don't know how long, that I've uploaded consistently for 3 weeks. And oh my gosh, like how good. I was so happy and so proud of myself. And then I skipped a week. But listen, I have a good reason. I went on vacation last week. I had full intentions to film a video while I was on vacation, and then I didn't. I forgot my mirror, so it was hard to film if I didn't have my mirror with me. And I didn't have any information. And when you're on the beach, I'm telling you, I didn't feel like doing research, so I just didn't. But we're back now. I hope you can forgive me for missing a week already. But we're back, and we're not better than ever. But that's okay. So, last time I uploaded, we talked about Mohican State Park, but more so we talked about Landolls Castle at Mohican State Park. If you are interested in watching that video, I will leave it linked down below for you guys to go watch. If you're interested in learning about the history that happened there and the hauntings that are said to go on in Landolls Castle, then definitely go check out that video. I'll leave it down below for you guys. So today, what are we talking about? Where are we going today for the 4th episode of Spooky Saturday? I thought it would be interesting to talk about a place that I feel most of you guys probably don't know about. I won't lie, I didn't know about this place until I started doing research. I had heard of this place because I've been into the paranormal for quite some time. When there's a haunted place or an alleged haunted place in Mansfield, I like to research it. I really want to go to the places. So this place used to be part of Haunted Mansfield. If you don't know what that is, there is a organization called Destination Mansfield, and they kind of just give things to do, places to go in Mansfield, hotels to stay at. And within Destination Mansfield, they have a website called Haunted Mansfield, where it's all about the haunted places in and around Mansfield, Ohio. That's how I learned about it, because it used to be part of Haunted Mansfield. And it is the Mansfield Women's Club. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Mansfield Women's Club. It's located in downtown Mansfield, and it is not a part of Haunted Mansfield anymore. So again, it's kind of like the Bisman building. You're like, why are we talking about it then? Because you can't go on ghost tours there anymore. You can't, investigate anymore. You can't even go into the building anymore. So you're probably, again, like, well, then why are we even sitting here talking about this? It makes no sense. Well, I'll tell you why. It was the same reason as the Bisman building. I think it's sad that there are these buildings in Mansfield that have so much history involved in them, and there are so many things that went on, not even haunting-wise, but just history, and people don't know about it. Like, again, with the Bisson building, and I'm sure this building, people probably drive by it every day and they think it's just another old building in Mansfield, when it's not. It's a really pretty building with a lot of history behind it. And I just feel like it's kind of sad to let that go unnoticed and for people to just never know about this building. So just like Landolls Castle, I have never been to the Mansfield Women's Club because it closed before I could ever get to it. I had heard of it prior to this video because of Haunted Mansfield, and I've kind of been familiar with them for a while, but I just never went there. I don't think they ever had ghost tours. I think it was mostly ghost hunts. I'm not a very big fan of ghost hunts, so I never went to it, but I had heard of the building prior to this. I also want to say before we start, I do have quite a bit of history on the place. I have like a page and a half, 2 pages, but I don't have a whole lot of hauntings on the place. And I'll tell you why when I get towards the end of the history section, but this video might be kind of short. Also, just a disclaimer, I haven't done this disclaimer in the past few videos, and I feel like I should. If I'm looking down a lot, it's because I have my notes, and so I have to look down to read them. And I'm also my mirror right here, and so I'm looking at my mirror and doing my makeup. So if I'm looking down a lot, that's why. I'm not ignoring you. Another disclaimer, I keep calling this the Mansfield's Women's Club, and that's not the name. It's the Mansfield Women's Club. But for some reason, I just have to put a plural on Mansfield, and I don't know why. So the Mansfield Women's Club was built in the late 1840s, and it is still one of Mansfield's largest homes that were built around or in the mid-19th century. And it is located in downtown Mansfield. It's actually located really close to Renaissance, which is a theater here in Mansfield, Ohio. So the Women's Club was originally the home of Henry Clay, who was a very famous attorney back in the 18th century, and his wife, and I'm probably going to mess up her name, so please forgive me, because I know I will. It's Lucidera. That's how I'm going to pronounce it, Lucidera. That's probably really wrong. Lucidera Zimmerman Hedges. And now Hedges is actually a pretty prominent name in Mansfield, now and back in the day. And the reason being is because Henry was the nephew of James Hedges. And if you don't know who James Hedges was one of the 3 men to lay out the blueprint of Mansfield back in 1808. So he's a pretty prominent figure in Mansfield back then, and even now, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't really have a Mansfield, Ohio. So he's still a pretty prominent person today. So Henry was one of 11 children, which, can you imagine having 11 siblings? Not only 11 children. His mother. His poor mother. So Henry graduated from Ohio Wesleyan University, and then he became the law partner of U.S. Senator, Secretary of the Treasurer, and Secretary of State, John Sherman, and they were partners for 24 years. And in 1900, Henry became a chairman in the National Republican Committee Speakers Bureau. That's a long name. But in 1900, he became a part of that, and he was also very active in the Odd Fellows movement. Now, I didn't know what that was at first. I had to look that up because I said, the what? And I've never heard of them, and they still are around to this day. So the Odd Fellows movement is a non-religious and non-political organization. And to me, that kind of sounds like it's similar to the Masonic organization. I looked it up and I found a website. Like I said, they are still around today, but I don't think they are nearly as popular or as big as they were back then when Henry was part of them. And I found a website. I'll link the website down below for you of what it says they are. Hopefully you'll be able to understand it more than I could. From what I could tell, it was non-political, non-religious. They were just kind of a helpful organization. They did some charity work. and I believe it was only men that could join this organization. No women were allowed in it. Can I just say, I've used the e.l.f. Opposite Attract palette, and now I'm using the new Classics palette. And these shadows, they're pigmented, they blend. Like, this eye took me like no time at all to do. I'm just kind of surprised, and I had to tell you about that because I'm shooketh. Also, they're only $14. $14 for this. Oh, I'm a booty guru now, okay? Forget Spooky Saturdays. I'm about to become Minnie anyway who? Girl, we don't know her. I'm kidding. Don't come for me. I'm kidding. That was a joke. That was a joke. So Henry, I feel so bad. I cannot pronounce her name right. But I'm not going to call her just Miss Hedges, because how rude is that to call him by his first name, or her Miss Hedges. Henry and I'm going to have a panic attack. Henry and Luceretta. Henry and Luceretta were also involved in the First Methodist Church in Ohio. They were a very big part of that. They were a very wealthy family. I don't know if they had any kids. I should have looked that up. I don't think they did. I didn't find anything that mentioned children, but a very wealthy couple. And they gave back, and they weren't stingy about it. From what I read, the idea in my mind that I get from them is that they're not very stingy with their money, and they are wealthy, but they are happy to share it with the town. I'm interrupting the story real quick also to say that if the lighting keeps changing, it's because it's super overcast today. It's rained a few times already. It's very cloudy. So I have my overhead light on. I have a lamp on over here that's blinded me. And my mom made me a ring light. Shout out to you, Mom. Hey, girl. Because the natural lighting today it's not the cut. So Henry unfortunately did pass away in September of 1914, and he passed away in the house, which will come back when we talk about the hauntings. And after he passed away, Luceretta, every time I say her name I cringe, because I know I'm getting it wrong. Can you be quiet? I'm filming a video. People in their cars. So after Henry passed away, Luceretta did stay in the house, and she became very active in missionary work. Her and her husband were active in it already before he passed, but after he passed, she became even more involved in her missionary work, especially in the south of the United States. Now, sadly, Luceretta did also pass away in the house, and she passed away in 1925. And the way she passed away is so odd. She was elderly, and she passed away after she fell out of a chair on the front porch. And it was something, I think she passed away from shock due to a hip fracture after falling out of the chair. And it was in the home, like I said, which again will come into play later on. But unfortunately, she did pass away in a very, I feel like, sudden and tragic way. I feel like that would just be like out of nowhere, you know? So real quick, I'm going to throw on mascara and pray to the makeup gods that this doesn't mess up my makeup, because this is the point that I always mess everything up. And then I will come back and we will finish the history on the Mansfield Women's Club. Why did I make that face? Alright, I am back. Mascara is on. And you know, my eyes just don't ever want to work out. Like, this eye right here, the mascara went on flawless. One coat, it was good to go. This one, I had to do 3 coats to get it to the length like this, and it still doesn't look the same. So after Luceretta passed away in 1925, she put in her will that she wanted to give $10,000 to the Ohio Wesleyan Library's history section, kind of like a gift from her and her husband to Ohio Wesleyan. And then she gave her house to the Mansfield Federation of Women's Clubs. So once she did this, and once she gave the house to the Mansfield Federation of Women's Clubs, this made it a place for women's clubs to meet. Now, if you don't know what a women's club is, it's a club, that is all women. Only women can join it. Can range from a gardening club to like a sewing and knitting club to I don't know. There's not a whole lot of women's clubs nowadays. Those have kind of faded out of existence. But back then, I think those were probably the big ones where like gardening is the one that always stands out to me for some reason. I think it's because my mom always says gardening whenever I talked about this to her. She always mentioned a gardening club. So now that's what sticks out to me the most. So at first, the house was used as a place for meetings for women's clubs and as a reception facility. There were also rumors that a few rooms in the women's club house were kept open. That way they could house, quote, certain kinds of young women. So from the article that I read, they pretty much said it was like for wayward girls. And if you don't know what that means, and pretty much it's just, how do I describe it? It's a girl who back then wasn't the norm for society. She might have been a little more promiscuous. She might have, you know, spoke her mind a little bit more than what people would like for a woman to do back then. It was women like that, girls like that, who didn't fit the typical sit still, look pretty of back in the day. But other people said that they were, quote, the rooms were for respectful girls who were temporarily out of funds. So either didn't have a job or they had run out of money, and so they needed a free place to stay while they kind of got back on their feet. No matter what, whichever one is true, they did keep rooms open for girls to stay in the house, whether they were down on their luck or they were too promiscuous. But either way, the rooms were kept open for young women to stay. So since that time, the usage of the house has changed, and it turned into a place that different women's clubs from over Ohio and in the US could come and stay, and they would have luncheons there, they would have recitals there, they would have different receptions there, and they would have meetings. My mom was watching my video and she said that that's a lot of foundation. I said, well, you have a big man face like me, that's what happens. And then in 1952, the home had major renovations happen to it. The biggest one was that they added on a big east wing. That way the clubs would have more space to entertain. They'd be able to have bigger functions and bigger receptions and meetings. And it helped a lot. It drew a lot of different women's clubs in. Some of them, I have a list. Let me read it off to you. Tourist clubs. A lot of gardening clubs. See, I told you, there's a reason why I keep saying gardening clubs. Psoriasis clubs, charity clubs, bridge clubs, and then many more. That's just a short list of different types of women's clubs that came to have luncheons, meetings, receptions, all types of things. Now, throughout the time the Mansfield Women's Club doors were open, it had a lot of famous celebrities and people walk through its doors. One of them was a famous muckraking journalist, Ida Turnbull. They had famous columnist at the time, Irma Bombeck, and they had First Lady Bird Johnson come for meetings in the women's club. And they held meetings and receptions and different women's clubs in the building for over 90 years. And I got powder on my shirt. Y'all weren't gonna tell me. That's just dirty of you. So sadly, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the Mansfield Women's Club did close its doors. It is not a part of Haunted Mansfield anymore. You cannot go ghost hunting there. They don't have ghost tours. You can't go there to tour the building. They don't have women's club meeting there anymore. Nothing. And I actually reached out to Destination Mansfield because I wondered why it was part of Haunted Mansfield for a few years and then just wasn't. It wasn't on their website. It was like it just kind of got erased. I hadn't even heard anything about the Mansfield Women's Club in a long time. So I reached out and I talked to someone there, and she was very helpful with getting information for this video. And she told me that it was purchased by a private owner a few years back, and they are actually living there now, and it is their home, which is why you can't go in and tour the place anymore. It's closed to the public because someone's living there now. And I wanted to say that to say, yes, this building has a lot of history behind it and a lot of really interesting things going on there, or it did. But this is someone's home, so I would not recommend driving past there. going there to stand outside and take pictures. I wouldn't recommend that because this is a place that someone is living and trying to just, enjoy their life. So I wouldn't recommend doing that for the simple fact that it's someone's home. So now don't mind my hair. Alright, don't mind my hair. Whenever I put it in this happens. It lays weird, like, oh, what a look. So that is it for the history of the Mansfield Women's Club. And now it's time to get into my favorite part, which is the paranormal side. So a lot of people who would go there to ghost hunt or would go to tour the building would experience feeling like they were getting touched by something that was not there. Multiple people also experienced seeing full body apparitions in the house. There were many EVPs caught in the building. I found some, but I'm gonna try to link these people down below. It was a group of people, and I think it was just called like Basic Black Shirts or something like that. Okay, while the fire alarm goes off, I'm gonna set my face. So I'm gonna try to link this group down below. I don't remember the name. I think it was like Basic Black Shirts. They had a YouTube channel called Paranormal Afterparty. They haven't uploaded on it in like 5 or 6 years. So, and I think the group's name was Basic Black Shirts or something like that. But they were in Mansfield. I'll just leave their channel down below because they did the Biston building, which we talked about, and the Women's Club. And they caught some really cool EVPs. They caught a voice of, I believe it was a man or a woman, I don't remember which one, telling them to get out. And there was also an EVP they caught during that same session of, I believe it was a woman saying one of the hunters' names, like his full name. And it happened a few times, and the one time it is crystal clear, you can hear it, of her saying, I think his name was like Trippy or something like that, and you could hear it clear as day, her saying his name. I'm just going to try to leave that channel down below so you can go check it out for yourself. I watched the 2 episodes of the Women's Club, and they caught some really interesting stuff there. And it was really cool to see. They caught a man calling one of the women detectives a whore a few times. They used a spirit box for these sessions, and that's how they caught them. And it was just really interesting to see. So I'll leave that link down below if you want to go watch that video or just check out the channel in general. Now, multiple people, and this is the one thing that is the most consistent at the Women's Club, they have seen white mist. And I'm talking multiple people, different times, different days, different nights, different people. But they have seen white mist in the building. And I will take a picture and insert it here that I found on Haunted Mansfield's Facebook page. They were doing a ghost hunt in the Women's Club. And a man is sitting on the couch, and you'll see him in the picture. And apparently he said it felt like something was touching him. So they took this picture, and on the coffee table, you see a white mist. Now, the people at Haunted Mansfield said that they could see legs sitting on the table and arms reaching out and touching the guy. I personally don't see that. I do see a white mist on the table. Now, it could be a glare. It could be something paranormal. I don't know. So I will insert that now, and I will let you be the judge of that. Alright, while you're looking at that picture, I went ahead and put my eyeshadow on my lower lash line and then mascara on my lower lashes. That way, that was done. Now, the Mansfield Women's Club also either had or they still have, I'm not 100% sure, but they did have apartments on the upper level of the building. And one of the tenants said that a lot of weird things would happen. There would be a bunch of random cold spots that would appear out of nowhere in this building. And he said they would always hear strange noises in the building as well. And the strangest thing to me that he mentioned, that there were a lot of unexplained power outages that would just happen. And no other building on the street would have their power out, just the Women's Club. And the former caretaker of the building also said that he experienced a lot of strange things. Cold spots seemed to be a very big thing that he experienced. He mentioned that there would just be random, unexplained cold spots all over the building. And he also said that in the basement, when you'd be down there, you would see just random dust clouds, like someone was walking and like puffing up dust, but there were no windows in the basement. I don't think there was a door in the basement. There was a door that led down to the basement, but not a door in the basement. So he said that there were a lot of just weird, unexplained dust clouds that would puff up in the basement. And he also said pictures would just move on their own. They would be on the wall or something, and he would lock up and leave for the night, and then when he would come back, they would be off the wall, or they would be like turned. They would be in some place that they were not at. So now, who's haunting this place? What is it with this place that makes it so active? That's the question that I kind of was asking myself after researching this. And me personally, what I believe, Henry and Lucretta are probably haunting this place. You figure they died and it was their home. It's not far-fetched to think that they might still be attached to this place, especially because Lucretta died in such a shocking and quick way. But also, if it is true that they had wayward girls staying in the rooms here, one of the spirits might be attached to this place, and they might be haunting the building because they don't know to leave. They're stuck there. Alright, you guys, and with that, this is the final look. I love this little red lip with this rose gold. I put this really pretty shimmery gold gloss over top of this. It's from their Disney collection. This is the Snow White red lipstick. This looks, yes, period. A red lipstick just makes me feel fierce. That is the end of this video. This is the final look. And I personally think that this house could be haunted, but it could also be a lot of things that could be explained away. And I guess we will never really know because now it is someone's home. I would love to talk to that person, and I would love to know if they have ever experienced anything in the house, if they have seen things, heard things. I would love to know. Who knows? Maybe one day it'll open back up and we'll be able to go explore there. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what you think about me doing different cities. That's like a season in this series. Do like season 1, Mansfield, season 2, different. Let me know what you think. Subscribe. I believe we're at 35 subscribers or over, and I'd love to hit 40. I'd love to get to 40. I love it. I'm just saying, if we can get to 40, let's get to 40. Also, please share this video. That's how people see my face. Please share. Share it. Share the video. Share it on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I hope you like this video. If you want to do your research, I'll leave some links down below that I found. If you find out anything different or new, let me know. And if you like this look and you want to know what I used, I always leave the products that I used in the description box below, along with the prices, so you'll be able to see how much they are if you're interested in picking them up. I love you guys. Thank you for understanding about my week off, and I will see you next week for the next Spooky Saturday. Bye, guys.